Oh yeah, I saw that quote. Yeah, Mandela would not approve of campus demonstrations. I mean, yeah, but Lammy's a fraud. Let's be honest now. David Lammy might be one of the biggest frauds in the Labour front bench. I'll be real. I've got some new clips on the soundboard you guys are gonna hear at some point soon. But yeah, nah, Lammy's a fraud, to be honest with you. Had a long day of recording, but only did a couple of videos. Most of these tabs are for Elphic, so I've got another one on Gaza tomorrow, which I need to do more coverage on, to be honest with you. So yeah, but it's the problem is I've done it in the lens of through the lens of the UK. I need to do more kind of coverage of stuff that's actually happening. But yeah, there's a lot to discuss here, and I don't want Akis to miss the Northern Lights. I'm also a bit worried in case I don't think I'll be able to see them down where I am. But one can hope. One can hope that we can see them down here. Apparently, some people in the town actually did manage to see them, but I'm not sure, to be honest with you, if that's actually true. Lammy knows little about Mandela. Yeah, no, he knows little about much, to be honest with you, at this point. Like, the guy's a complete melon. He's definitely my... If I was going to make a list of top 10 frauds in the Labour Party, he would definitely be my 10. He would definitely be my 10. So, yeah. Let's see. So, yeah, I'm trying to see if there's anything interesting. I saw some guy replying to me in comments, but not much else. Easier through a camera... Oh, okay, that's fair. Didn't know that. Anyways, jump onto topics. I want to discuss Jerry Hunt. I've done the videos for these already, but frustratingly, I was missing some of the clips that I actually did need. So it's a bit annoying for me personally as an editor, but we move. I want to discuss this. What's his name? Jeremy Hunt getting Uno reversed. There's no sound. You sure? What? Oh man. Was there no sound? Oh my days, what the hell? Oh, my whole day's wasted. Damn. Except your voice. Oh, my whole day's been wasted. Oh, you hate to see it. It should be fine. I'm not sure. Oh, this is frustrating to no end. Why would there be no sound? I don't get it. Audio output. It should go. Is my soundboard working?
My source is that I made it the fuck up.
Can you hear that? Oh, I've done something. Down here. Oh, my day's been completely wasted. That is heartbreaking. That is. Okay, I'm sure I can figure this out. Okay.
The NHS, for the armed forces, for
How's that? Can you hear that now?
our schools, and all the other things that really matter.
So the tax burden is at about 37% at the moment.
Okay, is that working, guys? Okay, I managed to fix it. Is my soundboard working though?
I'ma do my stuff.
Can you guys hear that at least?
I would really
So you can hear the soundboard, yeah?
like I won a championship game.
Okay, cool. Oh, my day's been wasted, guys. Oh, I'm so upset. I actually cannot explain how upset I am right now. That means all of the clips I've got here. Oh man. Okay, that's fine. I'll deal with this tomorrow then. I'll deal with this tomorrow. I just had it's just an OBS issue. Oh, okay. Oh, I might as well just close my thingy. Oh, might as well close that. So yeah, that's annoying, but oh well, we move, I guess. I had one more video I was going to do. At least that issue's gone now. But it's just annoying because on the software, it doesn't flag as an issue. But it must have been when I was messing around with my settings. At least okay, the soundboard works at least, so there's that. Find the Lammy clip. I haven't heard of it. I'm not sure if it's on. So, anyways, technical issue over. We move. It's not a thingy issue.
Rachel Reeves has not.
So can you hear Jeremy Hunt now?
Rachel Reeves has not made any commitment to bring down the tax burden, and you talk about the tax burden going up. It's correct. You know, we had a.
All right. Okay, that's fine then. At least it's fixed. But oh, that's frustrating. But not much I can do about that right now. Just means I've got to re-record stuff, which is annoying. But
once in a century pandemic, we had a 1970s style energy crisis. It was right
a Liz Truss budget
to support families and businesses with a temporary increase in taxes. But the big difference between the Labour Party and the Conservative Party is the Conservative Party says we now want to do the hard work to bring taxes down again because we know that is good for growth, and that will mean in the end we have more money for precious public services like the NHS.
But again, like that's not really true. If you get a tax cut, like it doesn't necessarily mean it's going to be more money for the NHS, like because tax cuts alone don't generate growth. We saw that with the Trust budget. Like, yeah, you wanted to do tax cuts and it wasn't going to work out. So, it doesn't really make sense.
For the armed forces, for our schools, and all the other things that really matter.
So the tax burden.
These are all things they've defunded, by the way. The armed services, which have been hollowed out, to the point where we wouldn't even last the fight with a near pure adversary for outside of 2 months. So there's that. The schools that that are falling apart because of the Tories. There's that, and the NHS, which again is falling apart thanks to the Tories. So, you getting growth and use that money to fund public services. That's a doubt from me, buddy.
At about 37% at the moment. Where would it be after another 5-year Conservative term?
Well, I can't answer that question because that's
That's checkmate, bro. That's checkmate right there. Oh, the Labour Party aren't going to commit to bringing down taxes. We're the Conservative Party. We're going to try and bring down taxes. Okay. What you can try and bring it down to? I can't answer that.
There are an awful lot of factors that could influence
what's
that.
your target?
But I
though?
think people could
hang on. Respect, Chancellor. If Rachel Reeves won't even talk about it, would you give us a target of where you'd like to see it?
Yeah. I've said we want to bring down the tax burden. We want to
bring it down to what?
Bring down over time when it is affordable and responsible. We want to bring down
And also, which taxes as well?
employees' national insurance to zero.
That's aspirational, I want arms as big as Henry Cavill's, if I'm not putting any work towards it, it's never going to happen. So this is just pathetic Tory words here. Sorry, I'm struggling to think right now, but yeah, exactly. Bring it down for who as well, because they cut taxes on the highest earners as well in this country. That was one of the first things David Cameron did. He brought it down from 50% to 45%. Again, where was the booming growth that was meant to happen from the tax cut? It's garbage. This is the main event. This is the Elphick stuff. I guess it's not the worst thing re-recording it because I actually have more of the clips that I want. Or should I say I need. So this is, honestly, I thought this clip was edited and apparently it's not. But, when you think about the question that's being asked, right, and then look at the response. So this is about Natalie Elphick.
When her husband was convicted of sexual assault, she called his victim a liar. Is this the sort of person who shares Labour values who you want to have in the party?
So he's asked about her specific actions regarding the victims of her ex-husband, right? So what answer do you think Starmer's going to give? He's going to say, well, she apologised for it, or, that was a long time ago. What answer do you guys think Starmer's going to give? I'll give you guys a moment to think about this one. Please comment what you think he's going to do, what he's going to say. Okay, you've had enough time to think about it. Oh, Broadchurch, okay. This is about the specific allegations, by the way, or the specific case that what she said about the victims of her ex-husband, right? Son of a toolmaker, okay. It was brave, okay. You're all wrong.
I'm delighted to welcome Natalie Elphicke to the Labour Party. She's got a strong track record on issues such as housing. She's on the front line when it
She doesn't have a strong record on housing.
comes to the crisis of small boats.
She doesn't have either. She voted for the Rwanda bill, which Starmer called a gimmick. Running a Labour. Yeah, she's going to be a consultant. That's what's going to happen. They're going to bring her in as a consultant on housing. Same thing they did with that doctor guy. He's going to be given a consultancy gig. But again, they're bringing in someone who's incredibly toxic from the Conservative Party. You know, just because she's not running again doesn't mean she's not going to cause a lot of problems while she's still there. Yeah, he just went into pure. Look. I mean, look at the question, right? Look at the way he responds.
You want to have in the party?
I'm delighted.
It's just a pure talking point. It's just pure talking point. That's what he jumped into there. This is the lady in question.
So under Rishi Sunak, he is the man who said he would stop the boats. And yet when we look at this year alone, it's record numbers of small boats arrivals. So he's not stopping the boats and he's letting the country down. Well, meanwhile, under Labour, they are clear that it is important to have defence.
We're going to talk about the Labour plans in a bit. That's way down here.
And they want to make sure that they have good national security. So I think we should have confidence that Labour are the party who will tackle this issue of the small boats crossings.
Just finally, then, have Labour offered you a peerage?
No. What I've said that I will do and what I've been asked to do is to contribute in the area of housing, which has been a long-standing area.
That sounds to me like a consultancy gig. You know, she's been asked to, advise on the area of housing. It's not going to be paid, unpaid. Sounds like a consultancy gig to me.
Of experience for me. And it's absolutely vital that we build the homes the country needs, because under Rishi Sunak we've seen house building simply collapse in this last year. And going forward it looks like it will be another missed manifesto promise from the Conservatives. Not 300,000 homes, but probably half of that number. So I'm really pleased to be able to join the Labour Party. The Labour has changed and it will be building the homes that our country needs.
So she's gone from talking about small boats to houses, which again, Labour aren't going to build the houses that we need. What's going to happen is they're going to change the planning permission rules to allow more private industry to build houses, which again, it doesn't mean that these houses are going to be more affordable. If you do increase supply, it will help a little bit, maybe even a decent amount. But again, these houses are still probably going to go for 200, 250k plus, especially if these are nice, houses with garages and things like that. So again, how affordable is a 250k house to the average person? I really don't know what Elphicke is after. To me, I'm telling you, it's a consultancy gig. Look, see, somewhere around here.
Who will tackle this issue of the small boats crossings?
Just finally, then, have Labour offered you a peerage?
No. What I've said that I will do and what I've been asked to do is to contribute in the area of housing, which has been a long-standing area of experience for me. And it's absolutely vital.
So the area of housing, asked to contribute to the area of housing, which sounds to me like a consultancy gig. That's what they offered that doctor guy as well, the other one who left. So again, no. I don't know if she expects to be a paid consultant or if she will be a paid consultant. I'm speculating. I'm genuinely speculating.
I saw sources that I made it the fuck up.
That's my answer to that. But that's what it looks like anyways. She'll stand on the White Cliffs with a bell. We'll see about that. But, in my opinion, I think she'll be given a consultancy gig. That's what it looks like that doctor guy was given as well. Because there's no reason for them to quit the Conservative Party. They might as well just go as an independent then at that point. She knows the Tory wants to be out. She wants to be in government. No, but the thing is, she's not going to run again. Excuse me, sorry. She's not running to be an MP after this. The Labour Party already have a candidate for Dover. So it won't be her regardless. So she knew she's on the way out. So it's more than possible. It's more than possible that she's going to get offered a consultancy gig. I genuinely believe that's what's going to happen here. So, oh my god, it's so bright. One sec, let me turn the light on. Sorry, guys. Okay, cooked on my computer. So when we look at how she voted on housing, right? She consistently voted against stronger fire safety measures, very pro-housing. Consistently voted against landlords paying for the cost of building safety works. So into the specifics, it's around remedial works and things like that. So voted to allow the owners of buildings to pass on the costs of legally required fire safety improvements to the leaseholders. So a lot of the daily maintenance for these buildings You know, a lot of the maintenance for these buildings was passed on to the leaseholders, who have the least money out of the developers, the landlords, and the leaseholders. Elphick voted to allow leaseholders to charge. That's missing a word there. To charge for legally required building safety works, except cladding. Elphick voted not to protect leaseholders in buildings with fewer than 5 stories or under 11 metres tall from being charged for legally required works, where other possible sources of funding, such as grants or warranty insurance claims. So again, her record on her voting record here does not look great. Does not look great. Exactly, she didn't do it for nothing. It's what it sounds like. It's a consultancy gig that was offered to her. You know, this is the person. She's the same person who said, "Don't trust Labour on immigration. They really want open borders." That was last year. Has Labour's immigration policy changed that much since then? No. This is Annalise Dodds being asked about it.
Do you think she's a good...
Paid consultancy is tried and tested method of paying massive bribes with legal scaffolding. So pretty much, yeah. I mean, let's think about this, guys. Yeah. People of the audience, right? Let's think about this. She's a Tory MP. She's not going to run again for Parliament, right? So what benefit does she have of running? Becoming a Labour MP. You know, of crossing the House, probably being hated by some of her friends who are probably Tories as well. Having to go, campaign for Labour potentially, right? What possible reason would she have, for that? Fair enough, she cares about housing a lot. Labour's plans on housing are better than the Tories' plan. But again, if that was the case, she would have left ages ago. She would have left ages because the Tories have never hit their housing target. Never, ever, ever. If she was so concerned about housing, she would never have joined the Conservative Party. So again, that doesn't really make sense. Maybe she's obsessed with the small boats. But again, Labour's plans won't stop the small boats. She could do precisely zero actual consultancy and just get paid. That's probably what's going to happen. Again,
My source is that I made it the fuck up.
So again, I haven't actually got a source on this, but when we use Occam's razor on this, just think about it.
Good natural fit for the Labour Party?
Well, I believe she is. You can see that in her statement, that what she set out is absolutely fundamental to the Labour Party, making sure that we have a country that is secure, making sure that we're delivering on those issues of security, and also making sure that we're delivering on housing as well. And, there'll be many people watching this programme who will really...
She does do that, but what's in it for her? That's the question. We can see some of the benefit for the Labour Party, sure. Bringing on one of those right-wing, hardline Tory MPs into the Labour Party, there's some benefit there in terms of taking away any of the anti-immigration arguments and things like that. That's whatever. But point being is that, do they really have to do this? And also some of the, as a person, she's not a good person. Blair's cabinet all got dodgy consultancy gigs, true.
Understand what Natalie Elphick was talking about in her statement when she said there's been that human impact from failure on housing policies from successive Conservative governments. They haven't got Britain building in the way that they need to, and it's only Labour that's got a plan to do so.
Can I go back to the question? I just want to kind of keep this interview focused, if that's possible, because I think our audience needs to understand why I asked that question. I asked that question specifically about whether Natalie Elphick is a good fit for the Labour Party because she supported Liz Truss in the 2022 Tory...
Can these people get earphones, please? The echoes are so annoying.
...leadership contest.
As a person who just had tech issues about 10 minutes ago, right? Like, they should have earphones.
And your party, the Labour Party, Sir Keir Starmer, has been very clear when it comes to the opinions of Liz Truss and her management when she was Prime Minister. Natalie Elphick has harshly criticised Sir Keir Starmer's stance on immigration. She joined the pro-Brexit European Research Group, the ERG, and has reportedly criticised Labour for being soft on migration and untrustworthy when it comes to running the economy. So I ask because she seemed to have such opposing views to so many fundamental policies of the Labour Party, and yet you say now she is a good natural fit for the...
So this interview cuts off, but we've got the bit here.
Opposing views to so many fundamental policies of the Labour Party, and yet you say now she is a good natural fit for the party. Could you understand why that might be confusing?
People can change their minds. And as I said before...
She hasn't changed her mind, not really. She's saying, essentially what she's saying is Starmer's plan on immigration is better than the Tories' plan because the Tories' plan has failed. But that's assuming Labour's plan is actually going to succeed.
Natalie Elphick is not the first Conservative MP who's taken this decision.
She's now a Labour Member of Parliament in the House of Commons, and Diane Abbott, the longest-serving black Member of Parliament who's a woman in our country's history, is currently not a Labour MP in the House of Commons because you are keeping her out of the party. How come Nancy Elphick is an acceptable face for Labour in the House of Commons and Diane Abbott is an unacceptable face?
Obviously, Diane was a trailblazer for the Labour Party, an incredibly important figure. There is an independent complaint.
It's not independent. It's done by the leadership. It's up to the leadership to let it back in. There's no independent investigation, especially one. Even if there was, it wouldn't take a year. You know, it's very clear what she said. So it's a bit silly, this.
It's process that applies to complaints in the Labour Party.
Going on for a year.
I'm not going to comment.
She criticised your anti-car policies, pandering to the unions over strikes, undermining the Rwanda bill. I mean, how do your views actually align with hers?
Well, I think anyone who looks at the statement that she's released today will see very clearly that she is someone who's absolutely passionate about changing our country for the better.
She voted for the bloody Rwanda bill. She voted for the Rwanda bill. This is nonsense.
I want to have a look at a tweet that the local Labour Party in Dover and Deal sent out about some of the MPs in Kent. There you go, Dover and Deal Labour. After a bad Christmas on Twitter, we're wondering, is Miss Elphick Kent's worst MP?
Stings, doesn't it?
I mean, yeah, this is what they put out about her.
And you'll be pleased with that. You're on that list there, but you're not the worst MP. It's Natalie Elphick. Have they changed their minds then?
Well, actually, what I've heard is that there is support for Natalie Elphick's decision, including, actually, amongst many of her constituents.
My sources that I made it the fuck up.
Obviously, some of the pro-Labour people that live in Kent might be happy about the decision, but overall, I don't think they are. I think Politics Joe did a video on it. They want a by-election. The folks in the know say any time between 10 p.m. and 2 a.m. Okay, that's all right then. With the Northern Lights, you guys got ages to listen to me talk on. So this is from Nick Tyrone here, and this is a really important tweet because he's one of those kind of liberal kind of people. He's kind of in the Labour social camp. She's acting as if she went to an Alcoholics Anonymous course in 2 weeks and she's cured, probably for a day, to be honest with you. So he says, I've said this before, the Starmer strategy has always seemed to me to be declaring his parties basically Labour and the Tories combined. So in my opinion, my personal opinion, if anyone who accuses the Tory party of being a red Tories, this is it. This person's admitting they are. With the actual Tories being UKIP, downsides, this annoys people on the left. Upsides, 45% of the country votes for you. So again, if this is the case, thought I had my cat. If this is the case, then the argument of we're not voting for another Tory party makes perfect sense. Because again, this is Cameron era Tory stuff here. Someone tried to argue with me in the comments over this. Over my post today. But the truth is that this is eventually what he's saying is this is the Toryfication of the Labour Party. We saw the UKIPification of the Tory Party, and now we're seeing essentially the Toryfication of the Labour Party. Those are really hard words to say, but that's what I'm saying here. For anyone who keeps saying we need to vote Labour no matter what, you're voting for essentially what would probably be Cameron era Tories. When you look at the stuff that they're saying, Starmer's Hoyle ceasefire trick finished him. As far as I'm concerned, that's fair. That's fair. I think for me that's what's done me in as well. I'll be honest. This is what Natalie Elphick. This was a poster she was going to put out literally days before she defected. Action to stop the boats, fighting to fill in local potholes, helping people in Dover. She says Labour no plan equals back to square one. Weaker economy, higher taxes, uncontrolled immigration. Voters paying more to achieve net zero, apprenticeships halved, less choice, lower standards. So it's very clear. It's very, very clear what she thinks. And so the idea that she's changed the person, not really true, considering she was more than happy to put this poster out, which was according to Politics UK, who was citing the Times here. Tory defector Natalie Elphick has sent out a leaflet to her constituents the day before her defection. This is the party that she joined. And this is what the Tory party will run with, I think. Was this Tory Munter that cheered shame? What? Yeah, she was the one that cheered. She shouted at the workers at the docks during the P&O thing. So yeah, a leopard doesn't change its spots. Not in this case, that's for sure. Labour under Starmer and the chair, Dodds, has said Labour is a good and natural fit for Elphick. They're also looking... Yeah, they are, yeah. They are looking for more defectors. I think what they're trying to do is get them to defect now and give them consultancy roles. That seems to be the plan. I think that's what they're doing, anyways. And this is what the genius O'Brien has to say about it.
Her former husband, Charlie Elphick, was convicted and jailed for sexual assault, after which, and this is crucial, after which, because you are in this country innocent until you're proven guilty, except on Twitter, after his conviction and incarceration for sexual assault, she not only defended him by describing him as attractive and attracted to women.
Clearly, the women weren't so attracted to him.
And therefore ripe for a sort of dirty politics type.
She voted against piano workers to strike. I mean, it's so over. Like, the fact that they've accepted it, honestly, goes against what the Labour Party should stand for, and goes against what Starmer's Labour Party stands for as well. So this argument of accepting her in, it makes no sense. The only people who care about are the people who see the world as bloody Civilization 6 or Total War, and see it's all strategy. It's all part of the plan. It's all part of the plan, guys. That's the only way they see it. 'Cause all they see is the world as strategy. It's just ones and O's, really. And that's why some of these guys struggle to understand certain things, honestly.
Hijack, but in doing so, of course, she also maligned his victims. And Keir Starmer, whose tenure as Director of Public Prosecutions saw perhaps even more personal effort put into protecting women from violence and sexual threat than almost any other area of public life, Keir Starmer has invited her into the Parliamentary Labour Party. And a lot of people are very upset about this for reasons that you do not need me to articulate, even though I kind of just have. And what I want you to talk to me about today is the wisdom of this decision, because I think it's genius.
There you go. Look, he said it. He said it, Aki, just as you said it. He said, look, it's genius.
Elphick is repellent, but I am cheering the defection because of what it tells you about the Labour Party in general as an electoral proposition, and also what it tells you
about who they'll accept into the party. You know, you've just laid out how she's a scummy person, and you're more than happy to have that person in the party.
About Keir Starmer's leadership. This man, I think we can all say now, without a single scintilla of doubt or scepticism.
Yeah, he is the Ministry of Truth.
This man is utterly dedicated to getting into Downing Street. The question then becomes...
To do what, though? To implement what policies?
Why is he utterly dedicated to getting into Downing?
This is a beautiful straw man the band's about to build here.
Street. Is it so that he can see his name on the honours board at Eton College and then not really bother about any other aspect of the job? Is it so that he can keep his sponsors on Tofton Street happy by introducing their mad...
So one's a dig at Boris Johnson, the other one's a dig at Liz Truss.
...policies and watching the country go off a cliff 20 minutes later? Is it because he wants to introduce a sort of form of unachievable ideological purity that the left have been crying out for years? No, none of these things. Keir Starmer wants to be Prime Minister.
You know, this ideological purity that would actually help the country. And again, like, you know, we've seen leaders come to power and have to change certain policies. You know, Attlee didn't get through the full version of the NHS he wanted, you know, because they couldn't afford it at the time. You know, it was very expensive. Given the state of the country, it was at 200% debt to GDP ratio, which is in a way worse position than we're in now. He still managed to get it done, but they couldn't do dentistry and eye care. They at least tried, though. And, you know, do people nowadays criticise Attlee for failing in those two areas? No. You know, the idea of left-wing, you know, this kind of left-wing purity, yeah, people will be mad at the time. And they're right to it. I think Niall Bevan was mad at the time. I think he resigned at the time. But, you know, when you look back at him, you know, at Attlee, the NHS, you know, no one talks about the fact that they didn't include eye care and dentistry. Everyone's happy with what they have got. Why not the left thing? There's no examination. I mean, this kind of jab, you know, it just doesn't make sense. Attacking both sides because he's so cool.
Because I believe that he wants to improve the lot of most people in this country.
So why doesn't he want to change corporate? Why doesn't he want to, put the capital gains tax rate on equal footing as the income tax rate? If he wanted to improve the lot of people, why doesn't he want to increase taxes on the rich? Why, you know, if he wants to improve the lot of people, surely that's a good way to go.
He wants to make this country a fairer and more equitable place, and he wants to do that for everybody, not just Labour supporters. And he wants to draw into his project, he wants to win the votes of people who you might not find very palatable by saying...
A little bit racist, I was saying. You know, we're accepting people who are a little bit racist or a little bit of economically very illiterate, you know, in terms of backing Liz Truss. You know, are we saying we're okay with accepting that?
Yes, you are welcome.
Because again, like, they're on track to win a huge majority as is. How big a majority do you need?
Keir Starmer has sent a message to the country, to people who wouldn't have voted for him, and still might not, but he's opened negotiations with parts of the country, whether you're talking about the Red Wall or whether you're talking about the voters of Kent.
I guess the real question is Starmer going more right wing than Tony Blair did in '97? That's the question I want to put to you guys in the audience, especially the ones that are alive, kind of older during the time. I was about 1 years old around the time of the '97 general election. So you guys tell me.
Keir Starmer has sent a message to potential Labour voters.
Okay. So we're saying, one sec, let me do a poll, guys. Let me ask the question of the audience. Where's that? Let's do, hang on. Start a poll, here we go. Bear with me 2 seconds, let's do this. Right, there's a poll for you guys.
Her former husband.
Oh, already watched this one. Let's go to the next one. And this to me is probably the most embarrassing clip, because this is the guy who coined the phrase footballification of politics, and used that as a criticism of both sides, really, of talking about how people have just kind of gone into camps here. And this is where I think for me, especially doing that video, is sanity the price to pay for power. All those kind of, last year, him saying this is so much irony in this.
Rarely permissible to be a little bit footballified until you've got the ball over the line.
So, when the Corbynites did it, footballification is wrong. We should call balls and stripes as is, right? But when it's my guy, Sir Keir Starmer, footballification is okay.
Starmer's Labour, writes Andrew Levy, is on a mission, even if some in the party don't yet realise it, to make Labour the party of Britain, embedding it in government for decades, creating a national consensus, drawing in the widest feasible span of committed supporters. The purpose is to transform the country. More on that in a moment. Quotes, doing an Attlee, end quotes, but succeeding.
Again, Attlee actually did stuff when he was in charge. What's Starmer going to do? That's anywhere near as good as Attlee, to be honest with you. So, citing Attlee doesn't really make sense.
I'm not surprised.
Before you raise both eyebrows, consider this. What might Attlee and his colleagues have achieved if Labour had been in power a lot longer?
That is true. That is true. But again, it's just not the way politics works, unfortunately. But again, you can't compare yourself to Attlee. What Attlee did in creating, the National Health Service is a legacy that has lasted a long, long time here. To this day, I need that Deontay Wilder clip. Let's see if I can find it. Bear with me 1 second. This is one I do need. I need the short of him saying it.
You know what I'm talking about, man. You know what? I dare you to sit up there and say, explain. You know what I'm talking about, man. He's fighting people. You know we've been fighting 400 and still fighting to this day. And still fighting to this day.
To this day. The NHS has lasted to this day. I can't say it as cool as he does. I need to add that clip in, to be honest. But, point being is that, we are still benefiting from the NHS. We're still benefiting from it. So what Starmer going to do that's anywhere near the level of Attlee? I can't see. There's nothing so far that they published that be anywhere near as good. Honestly, maybe with the Green New Deal they could have got something that would have been comparable. Oh, did you? Oh, okay. I need to get on these call shows, man. I'll try. I've got a week off coming up in June. Let me try again. But I do have to agree with the pitch has changed, making it a lot more difficult to find. Has it changed that much to find common ground? I think on the economy, there's still given how people are struggling. I think if Starmer said, "Look, we're going to change capital gains tax rate to be in line with income tax," something Rachel Reeves actually bigged up before she changed her mind on it. Maybe because big business got in her ear about it. I don't know. But that's an easy one to do. He wants to reindustrialise with green economy, and he is delusional about the scale of investment. I mean, imagine if Attlee tried to nickel and dime the NHS. Honestly, how badly it would have failed if they tried to do that.
You can't do that by just attracting and retaining voters from the centre ground. You need many of those flirting with the extremes to join you and stick with you.
And how many people in the UK actually exist, or in England actually exist in the extremes?
MPs are a different matter from voters, of course. Their views are public. But voters' views are generally secret. They're only shown to the ballot paper in the privacy of the polling booth. Any defecting MP...
I agree, yeah. I think Starmer's going into the culture war. I think you're right there.
is vulnerable to very obvious political attack.
The rest of this stuff's pretty lame. Here's this bit. This is the important bit.
Temporarily permissible to be a little bit footballified until you've got the ball over the line.
So it's okay to be a shill, but again, when the next election rolls around, right, what do you think this man's going to say? Do you think he's going to say, Labour have been trash, we need to vote for something else? Or do you think he's going to say, we need to vote for Labour to keep the Tories out? What do you guys think? There's more here. I want to discuss stuff from Grace Blakely. She was pretty good on Question Time recently.
Grace, Ian's question is, will Natalie Elphicke be an asset to the Labour Party or a liability? And I wonder if you might address the woman's question there about definitely. Whoever gets in will they be full of promises which actually won't amount to
Yeah, look, I think what's interesting about this is that anyone who's criticised Labour recently has been told you're just trying to get the Tories in, and here's Keir Starmer literally getting the Tories into his own party. And this isn't...
I mean, it's pretty ironic. It's pretty factual. It's pretty ironic, isn't it? That he has done. It's the third Tory MP that's defected to the Labour Party. So he's getting them in.
Just any Tory, as we've heard, she's pretty right wing. She's made some bad comments about Starmer. She's also made some pretty terrible comments.
Hope you're right, Euro.
About the victims of her ex-husband's sexual assault. And I mean, just imagine if you are a sexual assault survivor looking at this image of Elphicke sitting behind Keir Starmer. What are you going to think? Are you going to think I'm able to trust this party?
I mean, I should point out, Grace, as you know, that she has now apologised.
She's apologised, yeah, which, again, an interesting double standard there, right? She said something...
I think she has recently apologised as well.
Pretty terrible, and she apologised, and Keir Starmer has welcomed her open arms into the Labour Party. Diane Abbott, a while ago, said something that she regretted that was wrong. She apologised, and she is still not inside the Labour Party. This is a woman who receives more abuse than any other MP, a woman who has been...
I think Grace Blakely is probably one of the best on the TV, probably one of the best in general, to be honest.
Long-serving Labour MP. And I just find that double standard really, really upsetting, actually. And I think it speaks to the point that the lady made about, can we really trust politicians? I think this actually sits at the core of our democracy right now. Trust in political parties is at all-time lows because people see politicians making promises and then going into Westminster and saying, it's actually too difficult, there's no money left, we can't do any of the things that we promised you. And
that's what David Cameron kind of did as well when he ran that, there's no money left note.
It's, I think, a really cynical move on the part of our politicians just to say, that we couldn't possibly fulfil these promises that we've been making to people. Even more cynical not to even make the promises in the first place, as I think Keir Starmer is failing to do, because you basically say either there's not enough money left to fix the NHS or I'm going to encounter too much opposition, I can't possibly do anything. We have gone through in this parliament, this has been the first parliament in modern history.
Looks like Lisa Nandy's mad as hell.
This has been the first parliament in modern history where living standards have fallen. And that comes on the back of the longest period of wage stagnation since the 1800s. People are desperate for change. And if politicians don't deliver that, I'm worried about the future for our...
This is where you should be really concerned where the far right can win. This is one of the points I've made for a while now. Which is that, if Labour, if the Tories have failed, let's be honest now, if Labour fail after that, what options do people have left? What will people think at that point? And that's where you can get a far right in there. That's one of my major concerns. In the mid 2010s, we kind of saw it a bit, that UKIP surge. Given that Labour, lost in the 2010s, lost a lot of confidence post kind of Great Recession. The Tory party, which in the first 5 years weren't doing too great, they managed to kind of shore up their election win, I think, by the Lib Dems taking a lot of flack for what the Tories did, but also promising that referendum as well, which took a lot of the UKIP votes back away from UKIP and back to the Tory party. So this is something I'm very nervous about here, the kind of far right swing. Let's see. And if Starmer isn't moved to the right, isn't more right wing than Starmer and Blair even, why has Starmer systematically worked to get rid of the left in the party? That is true. You're right. what's his name, Starmer has gotten rid of, I think, more kind of left-wing MPs than Blair did. Natalie Elphicke was a mistake, should never be allowed in the Labour Party. She is so right-wing. Reform Party's for her. That's true. I think the Reform Party was the one for her. The argument of, well, at least Reform didn't get, I mean, Reform at that point would have 2 MPs they inherited. Wow, scathing. So scary. 2 MPs. They've got, what's his name, 30p Lee, and what have they done? I can't remember his name, but, what have they done with him? Nothing. How much has he helped them? Not much. That's the point. So, this idea that if they had 2 MPs, they'd be scared. This is pretty funny to an extent.
But what is it then that drove Natalie Elphicke into the arms of Labour?
Well, Natalie Elphicke, in her time in Parliament, has done lots of things that I've been scratching my head about her time here. I thought it was unusual, some bizarre comments she gave after her husband had been convicted of sexually assaulting a woman. She said it was because he was charismatic, wealthy and a man. She's made lots of funny decisions that I don't understand. This is just another one of them. But I also think it's really interesting.
But you let her stay in the Conservative Party, not you personally, but she stayed in the Conservative.
It wasn't.
Yeah, this is true. If you think she's such a weirdo, why are you keeping her in the party? He wants right-wing vote and left-wing vote. Yeah, that's what he wants. You're right. He wants... Basically, what he's gambling is people on the left will vote for him because they're, to get rid of the Tories, and people on the right will vote for him because he's pretty similar to the Tories. And this kind of gamble, I think it can work. I don't know how far right Tony Blair went in that manifesto, to be honest with you. Something I need to look over. But in terms of who it didn't work for Hillary Clinton in her election against Donald Trump. But the difference is that the Tory party have completely failed. So I don't think they have to run this far right. I think he just wants the biggest majority possible in order to do the most nonsense as possible, to be honest with you. Because if they have, we've seen it in this parliament, if you have an 80-seat majority, you can kind of get away with any kind of legislation you want. Starmer win big, though, it's still going to be a nightmare government. I mean, we'll have to wait and see a little bit. I am desperate to see that manifesto. In terms of some of the things they pulled back on, it's not great.
To me personally, but to look at the...
Did you voice those?
Yeah, Duffield should have been kicked out of the party as well.
So, did you voice those concerns?
About Natalie?
Yeah.
Well, look, I voiced lots of concerns about lots of things when I was chairman, but they must remain...
That's true. That's where the difference is. That is very true. Trump was an unknown. He was a very charismatic campaigner. And that's where the strategy failed. I don't know... It's tough to come up with comparisons on the left. That's the problem with what... I guess you would have to compare it to maybe 97. But again, we saw Ed Miliband do it. Ed Miliband failed pretty badly as well. So again, it's... you can't just say going to the centre makes you successful, because it doesn't.
Confidential, but what I think it does say is, in relation to Keir Starmer, a really bad error of judgment, I think.
With the 92 failure, that's something I actually do need to read up about a bit more.
On his behalf. Firstly, because Natalie and I were in the same lobby voting to strengthen the Rwanda bill together. That's at odds with the official position of the Labour Party. I wonder how Shami feels about being in the same political party, but he is known for this.
But hang on, you say you felt uncomfortable, let's put it that way, or you were scratching your head about comments that she made after her husband...
I just say I struggled to understand them.
If you think it's a bad error of judgment for the Labour Party, but it wasn't a bad error of judgment for the Conservative Party to hold on to it.
The Conservative Party is a broad... No,
sorry.
I don't think his comments, him bringing up the stuff that she said around the victims, right, doesn't make sense in the context of this conversation, because the host someone was always going to flip it back on him. Luckily, the host actually did a good job here. But point being, is like, what was he thinking?
If you let me answer the question, that would be helpful. But so the Conservative Party is a broad church. There are people in the ERG who are on the right of the Conservative Party who can happily sit within the wider Conservative family.
But again, what she said about the victims is something you haven't answered, and he doesn't answer in this clip.
I'm not sure that the Labour Party's church is quite that broad. It would be quite unusual for them to have any...
He's talking about the Rwanda bill, though.
Member. I just say on her decision-making, first of all, what I actually said is I slightly bemused by many decisions she made, but also my sort of overriding view is that when times get tough, often...
Yeah, his cap in that last... He shouldn't have brought it up, because she flipped on him. She flipped it really easily on him. And when it comes to this kind of stuff, centrist politics is all about compromise. So compromise with the left. centrist. Oh God, no, I meant compromise with racists, and that's something you see a lot of. I think you saw it in Weimar Germany as well, where it's that they wanted to keep. They were so desperate to keep the Communist Party out in Weimar Germany, which you can say is justifiable. They let in someone who was pretty bad in Adolf Hitler and kind of the right wing elements in that kind of, what they call it, a parliament, the Bundestag we'll call it, because that's what it's called I think the Reichstag even. Yeah, it's called the Bundestag now, the Reichstag. So that's one of the things where the centre these kind of centre right politicians never really understand. I don't know if she's still an ERG member, because they keep that list pretty secret. And even if she was a full member, it doesn't make much of a difference, to be honest with you, because I think Braverman was I don't know if Braverman's still there, but she was she was the chair. I think at one point, I'm not sure if she still links with them now. This is a classic internet shill from your favourite internet boy. Super chats are, of course, appreciated. Memberships, you can get a membership from £1, if you'd be so kind. But yeah, just classic e-begging, because you have to do that kind of thing in streams, unfortunately. Or you don't have to, but it's a thing I think all streamers do. Like Labour saying is a good and natural fit, yet admitting an ERG member and thinking, okay, it's really not. I mean, this is what I mean. I'm not impressed. Like, when it comes to this stuff, the people saying criticising Labour is helping the Tories or whatever, I don't care. I'm not helping a Cameron era type Tory party which doesn't care about Muslim people, Asian people, to be honest with you. I'ma do my stuff. That's all that's going to happen. I'm going to continue doing what I'm doing, which is criticising people that deserve the criticism.
A situation now.
This is one of the funniest, another funny statement really.
Where Natalie Elphicke, of course, she's not standing again, right?
No.
But Labour would be happy to have her going out and campaigning on their behalf.
Well, she can, if she wants to campaign on our behalf, that's fine. Anybody's welcome to leaflet for us. Anybody's welcome to do voter ID. You're welcome.
So, is there any Tory MP that you wouldn't welcome in the party?
I'd love Jacob Rees-Mogg to be a member of the Parliamentary Labour Party.
Like Jacob Rees-Mogg, mega Brexiteer, a guy who doesn't care for anyone really apart from other rich people, in my opinion. He kept talking about cheap shoes and cheaper food for Brexit and all this stuff. Wants to get rid of a lot of the checks on the border. This is the guy you want.
No, seriously. Is there any, I mean, you've got someone now from the ERG.
A former member of the ERG.
Yes, so actually...
But I think she's still the same person she was. Like, she's not changed. She's not had, like, a Steve Baker moment.
I'll be a member of the ERG.
I was just going to say...
It's a broad church.
It's a broad church. It's a kind of sprawling town.
Well, that's
sure, it's open to anyone apart from people on the left wing, to be honest. This from John McDonald.
Apparently a Labour spokesman was asked after Prime Minister's questions today whether the Labour Party would take Nigel Farage in and couldn't give a straightforward no.
You're joking.
I'm just telling you what I've been told.
Is that right? Well...
Yeah, they still her case. They want to get rid of her. That's why they're going to keep the whip withdrawn until the election.
I don't know who that Labour spokesman.
Damn, that is true to be a former KGB member.
Person was, but they need a proper briefing on what Labour history is and what our Labour values are, and we're certainly not.
Again, a spokesperson speaks on behalf of the leader of that party, so evidently they weren't confident if Starmer would say no. Or they could have said, look, I'll come back to you and get a proper answer on that.
Supporting and allowing into the party, I think, the likes of Nigel Farage, who has been nothing but, as far as I'm concerned, on the main...
Truth died a long time ago, to be fair. You can argue Truth died maybe under Thatcher, maybe during the Iraq War, I don't know. Yeah, probably. He looks pretty bad.
Apparently a Labour spokesman was asked after Prime Minister's questions today whether the Labour Party would take Nigel Farage in and couldn't give a straightforward no.
You're joking.
I'm just telling you what I've been told.
Is that right? Well...
I think it's just what else are you supposed to do apart from laugh at that point? This regarding Elphicke, this person is Sienna Rogers. She's quite well connected, I think, in the Labour Party as a journalist.
I mean, having spoken to quite a lot of Labour MPs today, there was huge anger.
Yeah, it is pretty crazy. They should have made a decision on on Diane Abbott by now. They should have done, but like I said, I think they're gonna let her back in, but she's not gonna be the candidate for that constituency.
And hurt.
Arguably, you could argue it was the Iraq War that broke it in this country. I don't know. I think it's a fair argument. They want Diane to... Yeah, pretty much.
As well. I mean, obviously, from the left of the party, you've got MPs saying, as you would expect them to, things like, well, why isn't Diane Abbott included in the party if Natalie Elphicke can be? But then there were also MPs on the front bench, in the middle of the party, very much mainstream, who were kind of raising concerns about previous comments she have made about trade unionism, talking about militant unionism, that sort of thing. That really disturbs them because from whatever wing of the party they're from, they're very strongly supportive of the trade unions, but also, of course, as Nick mentioned earlier, those comments around Charlie Elphicke.
I don't know how... I think she's been the MP for a long time, though, and I wonder if she ran as an independent at that point, would she win again?
So people really talking about how it has the Labour leadership...
We're actually going to see a lot of independents run.
Just gone a little bit too far with this particular defection.
But it actually looks very much as if Keir Starmer was very pleased with himself about capturing Natalie Elphicke.
Absolutely, the leadership is pleased, and you can see why. I mean, there is a clear short-term political gain. I mean,
and that's the key phrase there, short-term. And that's what I think we're seeing a lot from Starmer as short-termism. Maybe, maybe he is doing this for ego. Maybe he sees himself as he wants to be the guy that got rid of that beat the Tory party, that finally got rid of him after 14 years or be 15 years in power.
I mean, it very much the headline that most people will see is the government is falling apart, the Conservatives are in chaos, Rishi Sunak isn't holding his party together.
But do you think, and I know that from what Nick was saying, that it is being started by Labour women, and we don't need to go into the detail of that, but do you think a resistance might build a head of steam to this?
I think defections are here today, gone tomorrow a lot of the
Yeah, pretty much. It's up to and including the general election. I think that's true.
Time in terms of the news.
It depends. I think in terms of vote share, I think the Green Party will do well. In terms of translating that into MPs, which has always been the problem of any party that's not the Conservative or Labour or even the SNP party. If you're not one of those three parties, converting vote share into seats is one of the most tricky things. I don't even know who the Green MP in my constituency is. I'll be honest, I've not seen any leafleting or anything from them.
And from speaking to these Labour women who are concerned, they're not at the moment planning a sort of collective action like a public letter or anything like that, but they are privately raising their concerns. One of them said to me, actually this ties in to the reaction they got when they raised their concerns, was tapping into another concern they have, that the leadership just isn't very good at managing its relationships with MPs generally.
And that's something we saw after. We heard a lot about that. After the 2020 council election losses by Labour, where Starmer was thinking about quitting, there was a lot of criticisms about the leadership regarding how uncontactable Starmer is and how closed off the leadership's office is. That was the first time we saw them throw Rayner under the bus for those losses, something that they've done, consistently thrown Rayner under the bus regarding many different things. So I guess that was that loss should have been a big sign of how Starmer's going to run it, to be honest.
In the Parliamentary Labour Party, and that's something they think could get worse after a general election when they have many, many, many more Labour MPs.
Yeah, I think it will get a lot worse because if he gets the big majority, he ain't going to listen to a lot of MPs because he doesn't have to. Because at that point, what are they going to do? Rebel, leave the party? There's not many options open to them. So there's that. Starmer doesn't. Stupid thing. This button really annoys me. Granted, I see Starmer is Stalin-esque. Yeah, with that. I mean, to be fair, I wouldn't say Stalin's gnarly. Stalin did the Moscow show trials. I wouldn't say he's Stalin-esque. Granted, Elphicke isn't standing for the election. It doesn't change the fact that, yeah, that's true. She shouldn't be in the party, and also I think she's been given a consultancy gig as well, based on what she's saying there. And these are the two goats here. This is a follower of the channel saying, yeah, sure, she voted for more sewage in the rivers and the sea. She's xenophobic. Labour's values. What a shame. Which is true. Perk is saying, so Labour is becoming a Tory bin. Professor Paul Bennell saying, is there anyone you wouldn't welcome with open arms into the Labour Party? Marg, Nadine Dorris, Nigel Farage, even though people are saying she's going to stand down. Is Liz Webster doing YouTube content? That's crazy. That's crazy.
I'm delighted to welcome.
So she is. That's interesting. Does she do she does. She actually makes YouTube videos. That's crazy. I didn't even know that. This is actually wild. So cool. I didn't know she was doing YouTube content. That's really cool. Which is fair. You know, reform is a real threat for Tories. I don't think reform this time around. I don't think they're going to do much. They're going to have 2 MPs. I don't think that's going to make a ton of difference. So yeah, I don't really buy into the argument. See, even if you consider how policy is made, it seems to be sold. The small boats policy, Starmer's now. It's a rebadge from Boris Johnson's no policies. Recent times have been made by members. What is the Venn diagram goal in Starmer's head? Probably just a win, mate. Honestly, I think that's all he cares about. Gullis, goddamn, no, I don't think they can accept Gullis. I don't think they can accept Gullis. Webster is great. Do like her take on Brexit policy? Yeah, I think her take on Brexit is pretty good, especially given that she's in the field. No, Natalie Elphicke defected from the Labour Party. This is a person who apologised after suggesting Rashford should have spent more time perfecting his game rather than playing politics. This is about his loss in the Euro 2020 final, which again, you know, Rashford again has achieved more in his life right now than what's her name will ever achieve. Honestly, you know, from especially from where he came from as well, Rashford has achieved more in his life than Natalie Elphicke has in double the time. Let's be honest now. Especially the fact that he got kids, you know, he forced the government to, you know, issue free school meals for kids, and when they gave crappy meals to kids, which, you know, Elphicke probably, you know, she could have been a voter in that kind of thing, a support of that kind of thing. I had to back out of. So respect for Rashford, no respect for Elphicke. I'll be honest. Switching gears to talk about, you know, Labour's kind of, it's probably the most anti-Labour stream I've actually done, to be fair. I do need to diversify topics a bit more, to be honest. It's something I've just been sat on for like a week because I've not done content for a week. My only hope, if Starmer continues this way after gaining power in number 10, my only hope is Labour MPs defect to other parties. No, I don't see that happening. I don't see them defecting, I'll be honest. What we need to see is a proportional representation system, I'll be honest. Labour leader Keir Starmer asked about whether he would cancel the flights to Rwanda, which I think his answer's fine.
Are you going to actually stop them and cancel flights, or will you let some fly if they're already scheduled?
Well, I think we need a dose of realism here. This isn't going to be a regular flow of flights. There'll be.
They can defect to other parties. It's not a problem, but like we need a PR system. Like regardless, like I don't know, unless you have like I don't know 200 like. You know, a decent chunk of Labour MPs defecting, it won't really matter that much. And I'm talking like maybe a good few hundred at that point.
Just a few flights taken off.
Yes.
If we get them before the election, and we may well do. But I'm not interested in continuing that. We're going to scrap the scheme. We're not going to schedule flights. There will be no flights scheduled or taking off after the general election if Labour wins.
I think Rigby's line of questioning is a bit ridiculous, to be honest.
Okay, that's new. So you'll actually cancel flights. No flights taken off if you win.
I think the scheme is a gimmick. I'm not flogging a dead horse. I'm not prepared to do government by gimmicks. I want to start on day one, not with flights taking off.
Okay,
but by absolutely investing my political capital in the law enforcement.
No flights take off under a Keir Starmer government from day one.
No flights, no Rwanda scheme. Okay. It's a gimmick. It's very expensive.
Right. Are you gonna...
Yeah, her line of questioning is probably the most ridiculous things I've seen in this case. I'm gonna move this tab over here somewhere where it's gonna be more relevant. Okay, Have I got this one already? No. Okay, no, my brain's just busted. Right, okay. So here you go. You know, this is about the thing we mentioned earlier about, you know, them becoming basically Tory light. You know, honestly, NJ saying, going mad for 18 months, we've been saying Labour are red Tories, getting screamed at for being Tory enablers or Trotskyists or whatever, only for Liberal commentariat to just admit and say, yes, they are red Tories now. But here's why that's good and forensic. I mean, that's pretty good analysis, to be fair, from No Justice. It's pretty accurate. This is the clip we mentioned earlier. So I got my clips mixed in. So we've mentioned that one already. So, okay. Now we go to the bad.
When Afghanistan...
So this is about safe routes of entry.
Do you think that safe and legal routes should play a role in stopping the channel crossings?
Look, I mean, we have
Afghanistan, Hong Kong, there have been routes set up, but
not out of Afghanistan. There's no way for anyone from Afghanistan to get here now because the Taliban control the airports. So there was at the time when the US had control over the airports, but that time is gone.
I think the main and the better, the really most effective way to stop the
we'll get to that
crossings is to break the gangs that are running this in the first place, because they are making a huge amount of money exploiting very vulnerable people, and they're doing that with thinking that they've got impunity, and that is going to be the most effective.
Harry Potter looking ass glasses. So this goes over here, right? Okay. You got super chat for the coffers. Thank you, Sock, for the super chat. It goes a long way. The pizza fund stands strong. I'm gonna nix this one. Trying to organise all of these tabs, a nightmare. Just need QA to come on and criticise me for all the tabs. I'm sure I do. Yeah, there is. So this is Zoe Gardner. So I've been recording all day, but it was all pointless. So I have to do it again tomorrow. This is Zoe Gardner. Talking about the Labour plans.
Directly related to the police operations. So, saying big words like commander and elite police force, it doesn't really get us anywhere.
Yeah,
well...
We need to get more details of this plan, but clamping
Talk
down...
about Starmer's plan.
...in France is also as dangerous as the Rwanda plan. Is that the suggestion?
Yeah, well, there's a direct relationship to the deaths that we're seeing. There have been 22 deaths this year. That's a 450% increase on the same period last year. And as I say, folks on the ground are saying that's directly related to the police operations. So, saying big words like commander and elite police force, it doesn't really get us anywhere if we don't provide the people there with a safe alternative. They need a solution.
This is the key here. For the pizza. Thanks, Joni. Appreciate that. For the pizza fund. Appreciate that, guys. Your boy does love a pizza. It's too late to get one now. Might get one tomorrow.
And they exist, they're there. We have to address that.
We've only got a very brief time left, but so...
And this is the point here. It's not, getting rid of, the smugglers will help, arresting the smugglers, blocking accounts and stuff. But what you need to do is make it so people don't have to cross the channel illegally. That's the key there.
Should the UK not in any way attempt to stop the small boats?
I don't think anybody's against the operations against smugglers. But what we have to do, again, is take away the market for the smugglers. Because you take away one smuggler, but there's still a refugee in a closed...
I've got a new Mac, to be fair, but I'm not using that. That's just for portable use. It took me ages to get it set up as well. Nightmare.
Border. Well, somebody else will fill that.
I'm going to look to get a PC upgrade in a year. Getting 32 gigs of RAM for more tabs. Because you want to see something, QA, right? Get this, right? You want to see something funny, right? I've got even more tabs open. Look at this. Even more tabs. Look, that's all YouTube stuff from here to about here. Even more tabs open. So, I'm back with a bang, guys. It's not a joke. The tabs I've got open is not a joke. Look at this. What's my task manager saying though? 87% usage. We're still cooking. We're still cooking all these tabs.
Market gap. You take away the market by providing
nothing in the Rwanda scheme. That's true. That is true. And Labour's plans do at least try and deal with the people smugglers to an extent, in terms of going after them, trying to get them arrested, etc. But point being is that's good, that's genuinely good, but you need to get rid of the reason why people are doing the channel crossings. You can criminalise things like drugs as much as you want, right? But the main way to get rid of kind of illegal drug dealers is through decriminalisation. Do you think Starmer could reinvigorate the Dublin Agreement? No, no. The EU have said no to that. He might. What's happened is, the UK tried to get an agreement with France. France said it's got to go through the EU. And then the EU said, no, you can do individual deals with countries. But the UK has been given the runaround there. So, I don't think it would be in Dublin 3. I think for the EU to do that wouldn't make any sense. There's no benefit for them really to do it. I think Ireland does have a returns agreement with the UK, but the only problem is Ireland have ruled the UK not a safe country because of the Rwanda plan. But obviously, if Labour come in and get rid of the Rwanda plan, I think they could re-rule on that one. So that could be quite interesting to see.
Providing people with safe ways to travel, and that would be regulated, it would be secure, and I think that would solve the problem much better than either the Rwanda plan or, another elite police force.
And Labour.
So yeah, Zoe Gardner genuinely really good on a lot of these issues. Really good answers here. This boy has not understanding of the 1990s Microsoft Internet Explorer days. He be so I don't. Technology's advanced. Welcome to the future, old man. So this is Starmer.
There aren't safe routes for people from a number of African countries where there are terrible things happening. You talked about it being right that we protect people from persecution. Would you increase the number of safe routes?
I don't think safe routes is the answer to the vile trade that is being run to put people into small...
So, he's saying safe routes aren't the answer, despite the fact that people are coming via France, the Channel crossing, because there are no safe routes. So, again, he's just straight line here. Renegotiating the customs agreement will be contingent on a migrant agreement. Who said that? What customs agreement? We've got, Cooper saying significant to be here with Natalie Elphicke, who was Dover's MP and has seen the consequences of dangerous boat crossings, which again, she backs the Rwanda scheme. She believes in your plan more than she believes in the Conservative plan, but I genuinely think she should be given a consultancy gig. This is not the great statement you think it is, Cooper. Starmer saying he's pleased Natalie Elphicke, who supported Liz Truss, has joined the Labour Party. I mean, he didn't say that, but point being is, big rab that's have. Point being is the Labour Party have changed to the extent where someone like her is happy to join the party.
To welcome Natalie to the Labour Party. You heard for yourself the reasons that she took a very difficult step. It's a very difficult thing to cross the floor of the House of Commons from one party to another.
Just 125.
Nobody just does it without a huge amount of thought. And Natalie's conclusion, having thought about this profoundly, is that Rishi Sunak has effectively lost control of the borders and that the Tory party is characterised by incompetence and the Labour Party has changed. I think that's a very powerful thing to have said. It's testament to the hard...
Again, we know the Tory party have failed. The only thing that really says is she thinks your plan is better than the Conservatives' plan. But again, given the fact that she's going to be kept on as some sort of consultant by the looks of things, it's not the dub you think it is. And when we talk about this stuff, right, this is the Ollie Dugmore clip, which I guess the only benefit of me re-recording is I have this one at hand. This is he's talking about the reason why his wife has to cross the channel. This person.
My wife at the moment is in France. So I tried every option, like normal way, to bring her here. Yeah, I applied for the family reunion application. I put the application. They rejected the application on the basis of she that did not pass the English test.
Okay.
So she's not educated.
And this is kind of crazy. We have this test for family reunification anyways, but we had that Arab scheme as well. And this gentleman here saying he's tried every scheme possible. It doesn't make sense to reject this person's claim specifically.
She doesn't speak English. So the only option for me left is to use one of these little boats to bring her over, because she's my wife and we can't live apart. I mean, some people, they just say, okay, turn the boat back to France, wherever they come from, send them back, but they don't know the reality, what we are facing.
And just to be clear, I mean, that reality is death, right? If they'd stayed in Afghanistan, the Taliban would...
Yeah, of course,
would kill
obviously.
them.
I mean, they're in the run all the time.
Is she scared?
She's scared, believe me. I mean, sometimes it's very painful. Like when I talk to her, sometimes when she gets really upset, she says, I shouldn't get married with you. And I'm like, what's happened? Why? She said, we never been together. We never feel like we are married. I never felt like I'm married and I have a husband.
It's crazy. And this is the relative situation for so many people, especially ones from Afghanistan. And the answer apparently isn't safe points of entry. And, this person here saying the only option he's got is to put his wife on one of these small boats to get her to England, to get her asylum process, processed here or whatever. He's saying that's the only option left to him. Safe points of entry wouldn't resolve that. A processing centre in France wouldn't resolve that. It's just madness. It's just so crazy, honestly. A little bit more. I want to discuss this. There's we discussed the American protests, American students protesting. There's a little bit of France in there as well. In the UK, we're seeing it, and got massive respect to this guy here. Learned a bit watching this video as well, and I'm glad. This is multiculturalism at work here, in my opinion. This is so good.
Yeah, so let me show you around. So as you can see, we have
all the tents where all our lovely campers are sleeping. We set them up this morning. Over here we've got a banner of a group that I'm part of, Cambridge Jews for Justice in Palestine. There's many of us here in Cambridge, Jews who believe...
I think with Ollie Dugmore, I think he was just tired because I think he's got a pretty late night slot. Like, just looking at him, he looked pretty sleepy, to be honest. Like, not in a mean way, but maybe just his slot's late, you know, like... Yeah, he did engage with the person calling in as well. He didn't just let him speak without any prompts. So I can see what you're saying, Stu, but I think it's a bit of a... I wouldn't say that like without context.
That it is our duty to speak out against the genocide that is being carried out in our name by the Israeli state. We don't stand for that. We're here to support the Palestinian people and bring freedom to Palestine. So this sign here says Cambridge Land Justice because we are on land owned by the University of Cambridge and we are demanding that the University of Cambridge divests from all its involvement.
Yes, Ollie, yeah. I think his name's Ollie Dugmore from Politics Joe. Yeah, he's a decent guy. He was, I think the first video I saw of him was him selling eggs by the Thatcher statue. And then when the police told him to move, it's like, you know, supply and demand. It's really funny, honestly, that video I watched. I think that's where Politics Show started off a bit trolly, but they became more of a serious channel. But honestly, it was really funny, that clip.
Israeli apartheid and the genocide of the Palestinian people. Back there we have a multi-faith prayer space. We're going to have events. We're going to have Jummah on Friday. We're going to have Friday night dinner for the Jews as well, and that's everyone's invited. Everyone's going to share their cultures.
You know, it's pretty interesting. I didn't know Friday night dinner for Jewish people was a thing. Like, I don't know if that's a religious thing, but Jummah is really important for Muslim people. You know, Friday prayers. So again, it's really cool. They've got this kind of multicultural space here. We were talking about conspiracy proven. So many similar tents. That's the cheapest tent available on Amazon. It's $20 delivered. Who's talking about conspiracy around tents?
Their faiths. As we keep on going.
What does that say about the space?
These look like cheap pop-up tents anyways.
Yeah, well, it's, you know, welfare is really important. We want everyone to have a place where they can go and have a bit of quiet time, but we also want to be sharing our cultures. We want to learn, and we're going to have lots of teach-ins. We have stuff scheduled, speakers coming, academics, writers, and we all want to learn, and we all want to share this space together, and I think it's an amazing thing we've created.
Tell me about what you're wearing today.
So, well, I'm wearing Crocs on my feet because it's muddy.
We can forgive him for that.
I've got a Palestine Football Association shirt supporting Palestine and also supporting the wonderful sport that's football. I've got a scarf that resembles a keffiyeh, the traditional dress of Palestine, and on my head I'm wearing a kippah because I believe that right now I am carrying out a religious action. It is my religious duty to speak out against the genocide being carried out in my name as a Jew. In the Jewish faith, we are commanded to wear the kippah when we're carrying out anything that we feel to be a religious act, and that's why I'm wearing it right now. Over here we have a banner made by our campers which reads, "Welcome to the People's University for Palestine."
It is a balanced outfit, it's a nice outfit.
We believe this to be a university that belongs to the people, that belongs to its students who, after all, are paying the fees to be here. And we believe that we have the right to demand the uni to divest from the genocide and to give in to our demands. And we will not leave until that happens. So over here we have a banner also made by our campers which reads, "Divest from genocide, drop Elbit, Caterpillar, Rolls-Royce." And those are three companies that the uni is invested in. So Elbit Systems are a weapons company that provide drones to the Israeli state to carry out murders of innocent Palestinian citizens. Caterpillar provides bulldozers that use in illegal demolitions of buildings in illegal settlements, and Rolls-Royce likewise supplying weapons, supplying parts for the drones that the Israeli state is using. So we want Cambridge University to remove all ties with these companies, and
this is fair. You know, these are the kind of process where people always say, "Oh, process peacefully." When you do things like divestment, people get real upset about that kind of stuff. He's sincere. You know, there's a lot of respect. You know, for I think the next gen. I guess I'm on the tail end
until those demands are met.
I'm on the tail end of being a millennial. I think my younger brother and sister would be classed as Gen Z. There's not a huge age gap between us, but you know, point being is like, is like, you know, this is kind of, this is really cool. Honestly, I didn't see a lot of this. For Chrome, use tab suspender and always have enabled start where I left off in session. Now I think close 500 tabs open. 16. What? Leave the tabs alone, guys. There's a rule on this channel. We don't discuss the tabs, okay?
And just over here, we have our library for the encampment. We've had donations.
Make soup, not war. Can stand by that.
From lots of publishers, including Haymarket Books, Friends of Al-Aqsa. We've got lots of canonical texts here for our campers to read and enjoy while we're here. As I said, we're all learning. We're trying to follow.
I'm not too familiar with communes, but that's the kind of vibes I get out. You know, you got a library, a study space. I mean, there's so much going on here.
For a community, we're trying to learn from each other, and
I think that's the coolest bit. You know, they're protesting. They're also learning about different cultures and different religions and things. I think this is really cool, honestly.
Learn from texts that have inspired many protesters that have come before us. And
this guy's a really talented speaker as well. He reminds me of Loki the rapper. When you hear him speak, it's what he kind of sounds like a really well-educated dude. And this guy still hasn't graduated yet either. It makes me wonder, you know, what's he going to go on to do?
Come after us. So we're actually in exam term right now. So a lot of students are either writing dissertations or preparing for exams coming up in a few weeks. So yeah, we've got a revision space. As I said, we've got a library, we've got a quiet space over there. Everyone's supporting each other in their preparation for exams. And as I said, learning off each other and, you know, being here, a lot of people are writing about their activism. A lot of people are...
It really would, to be honest. It really would.
Revising for exams in which they're going to talk about this kind of thing. So it's a great way to create that kind of community and prepare for our exams.
We demand the university to withdraw the IHRA definition of anti-Semitism and adopt the Jerusalem definition.
4. That the university become a university of sanctuary, joining a national network of university staff, lecturers, academics and students, making Cambridge an institution welcoming of all forced migrants and providing a place of safety, solidarity and empowerment.
Money for education!
Which is true, you know, when you look at where the money that these fees are going to, it's buying shares. Some of that money is buying shares in companies that are abhorrent. So, you know, this money should be spent on the education for this lot.
Money for education!
Yeah, you know, that's crazy. They're removing someone's student visa, and that's why I have a lot of respect for these students. A lot of these will be British nationals, but some of them might not be. And that's why it's always a risky bet protesting, because again, you know, especially with, you know, as cringe as it is, the rise of AI and face recognition, like they could try and figure out who this kid is, and, you know, lower his employment prospects. You know, like there's a reason why his name wasn't mentioned here and he's wearing a mask. But, you know, so much respect for all of these protests, especially this kid, or this guy, I should say man, because he's an adult. You know, the way he spoke, there's a lot more articulate than, you know, even I speak, and I've been doing this YouTube thing for a while. This guy's, I hope he goes far. I really do. And, you know, when they say the next generation is more left-wing, I guess that's not just economically speaking either. You know, there is always a rise of kind of student protests and stuff. But I hope that this generation kind of continues and stays on the track that they're on. Maybe we'll actually get somewhere. But yeah, last clip, I think this one was discussing Maori Black, her comments around the UK, effectively saying the UK becoming a bit of an oligarchy.
When you look at, if you like, at the need for a more diverse parliament and to what extent, if you like, these political parties, particularly Labour and Conservatives, you know, they were forged 100 years ago in the case of Labour. In a sense, they were drawn around political battle lines that were really important. But in a sense, those battle lines are quite different in a way for Britain now.
Absolutely different.
And so you've got these original parties almost stuck, like bits of furniture that almost need to be updated, and they're trying to find ways to update them themselves, but actually, can they do it?
There's also, I think, an argument.
I think with the argument of, you know, the Labour Party have, you know, these parties have to reinvent themselves. I think that's really true. I don't think that's really true. I think they have done to an extent. Like this Conservative Party that we saw 100 years ago, it's not the same one we have now. The same thing with the Labour Party. Like they got rid of things like Clause 4 and other things. And the Labour Party are, I think, economically way more right-wing than they would have been when they were founded. So I don't think that's really true at all. The thing that's kept these two in power is this is the first past the post system, though. Make soup, not war. Essentially, one of the things I've said about racism in general, if you break bread with your brother, you sit down and talk with them, you'll find out you have more in common. That is true. My boy Iro said, make tea, not war, and he is the greatest, even though he's a war criminal.
To be made as well about, if you take a step back and look at politics more broadly, is that I think the UK's started to go down the same path as America, in the sense that realistically you won't be Prime Minister unless you have big business, millionaires, billionaires behind you, whereas it should be people that decide what they...
I want to say I disagree with that, but when you look at the Murdoch thing where he talked about it's the Sun what won it about the '97 election, I think you'd have to agree with it. It was the press baron era, and with the media era now, it's very much the tabloids are skewed towards the Conservative Party. Most of the newspapers are skewed towards the Conservative Party. The way some of the press ask questions, I don't know if I've got the clip actually. Have I got the Koonsberg? Look at the state of this. One sec. Look at the state of this this clip here. This is embarrassing.
Has anybody noticed what Keir Starmer's done again and again and again in the last couple of days when they've won?
Well, are you going to tell me that he appears at football grounds?
Yes, but non-league football grounds.
This is one of the BBC. She was the former political correspondent. This is the person who has the premier talk show on the BBC, right, talking about Starmer.
So not in a shirt and tie, not in a suit and tie, not in a shiny floor factory in front of a big widget or a plane with people with really stiff placards all standing there ready to clap on cue when he walks in. He's gone to non-league football grounds.
This is apparently a guy who went to non-league games before anyways.
In that centrist dad uniform.
She's using Twitter terms. She's using terms from Twitter. You try and be, you don't want your criticism to come off kind of bitter or kind of, you don't want to be sweary or condescending or anything like that,
I was really trying to keep it PG.
But this is deranged behaviour. I'm trying to keep it PG, but this is actually deranged. How using terms from Twitter, the centrist dad uniform. Like maybe I'm becoming a boomer, but I think that the bomber jacket shirt combination looks fine. Like it's a smart casual look.
Jacket, navy shirt, or even a V-neck jumper with a t-shirt underneath it. Exactly. He's been in Paddy's wardrobe. He's been rifling through.
What's wrong with wearing a bomber jacket and a t-shirt? This is deranged behaviour.
So he goes to non-league football grounds, and then that means he's got more feeling of spontaneity.
I'm a man of the people. Look at me. I love nothing more than playing a five-a-side with my mates.
He's always played five-a-side. There's pictures of him playing five-a-side years ago.
And if I wasn't trying to be Prime Minister, I'd just be here having a pint and maybe kicking a ball around.
Literally what he did. This is the most deranged behaviour.
And it is a completely different vibe to the kind of very staged photo ops that we see so often, used to see from Labour politicians so often.
The headstone.
Oh, God.
That's embarrassing, to be fair.
Forgot about the headstone. But that, to me, and I asked someone in the party about it, I said, are you doing that on purpose? And this is an absolutely deliberate decision that they've taken, is to send him to non-league.
The thing is, I think he's always gone to non-league football grounds. It's just they might be publishing it a bit more. But I think that's probably one of the most embarrassing clips I think I've ever seen. And this is what I mean, like when you talk about being skewed to Conservative, it's like you never saw this kind of criticism or analysis done of the things Boris Johnson did. They never broke down why his hair looks the way it did, or why he spoke the way he did, or why he acted the way he did. That's just Laura Koonsberg being, I think she is a fraud, I'll be honest. I just really don't like it, and when it comes to the media game and stuff like that, like, I think on YouTube you have got those people who are extremely pro-Labour, but you've got the actual tabloid media. That is the premier show on the BBC, guys. That is the premier show from the BBC talking about stuff. That's stuff you see on Twitter. Like you wouldn't see someone talking about centrist dad uniform, honestly. But for me, it's. I'ma do my stuff. Sorry, I love these clips too much. I got this one as well.
Like I won a championship game.
Yeah, I love these little clips. I've added way too much now, so you're gonna hear them a lot, especially this one.
I'ma do my stuff.
You're going to hear that one a lot more. I'm just going to carry on doing what I'm doing, I think. This stream's probably... The problem is it's a lot of anti-Labour stuff at the moment. The thing is, normally it's just criticism of the Conservative Party because they're the ones in the news normally. But I think at the moment it's a bit... I don't know, maybe the Labour Party come up more garbage than I'm used to. Maybe there's more talking points to talk about with the Labour Party. I'm not sure, to be honest with you. But I'm going to leave it there. I'm probably getting the stream here. We're going for like an hour and 20. Thanks for everyone for the super chats. Thanks for engaging with the in the comment section as well. It's always helpful, getting good feedback, especially after that sound issue I had at the start as well. Thanks for the donations to the Pizza Fund. How long do you think GB News and the Daily Mail can hold on? As long as their investors keep funding them, to be honest. Because they've been money pits for a while. The Sun has been a money pit for a while. But I think it will stay as long as like the Murdoch Corporation keeps it afloat. You know, as long as they see it as a good way to get the policies that they want, they'll keep it. Yeah, no worries, Sock. I'm heading out anyways. I might be on. I'll probably be on Discord if you're in the Discord server. I'll probably join a call in the next like 20 minutes or so, probably around 10 o'clock ish. But yeah, so if you're on the Discord server, please try and join in. Other than that, I will have to say, see you, chump. Do I have that one? Oh, I don't as well. I need to get that one.
Stings, doesn't it?
Oh wait, the results of the poll are: the majority of people think, 77% of the people think Starmer is more right-wing than Blair was in the 97 election. 13% of people don't, and 10% of people just want to see the results. So that's the result of the poll. We'll end the poll there, and I'll catch you guys next week. Also, I'm gonna be on Sunday Race tomorrow live. So be prepared to see me look like a zombie. But other than that, I'll catch you guys tomorrow on Sunday Race. Be on the Sunday Race channel. Bye-bye.